2, 3.
You can't tell how someone feels just by looking at them or what they share online. To the outside world, our lives may look perfect, even if in reality they aren't. I'm always worrying about doing well at school, and with the end of year test coming up, I'm not sure how much longer I can cope. My thoughts swarm around my head, sometimes keeping me up all night. Some days it's just all too much, and I feel like I'm lost in space. When I did badly on one of my tests, I just about kept it together until I got home. Then I broke down crying in front of my mum. She listened for a bit, and then she told me that, just like physical health, we all have mental health. It's our feelings, our thinking, our emotions, and our moods. She then said that feeling down, angry, and stressed is a normal part of life, just like it's normal to feel happy, confident, and carefree sometimes. We all have positive and negative emotions that come and go based on what's happening around us. These are everyday feelings. Good mental health means experiencing negative emotions. It's not always about being happy. Mum can relate to the feelings of stress. So when Mum suggested I take a break from everything and do something I enjoy, I actually took her advice. So I made myself a hot chocolate, snuggled up in a duvet and watched a film. And you know what? Afterwards I felt so much better. Mum should take her own advice.
Most of us only ever share the good things. We don't like to share how we really feel. Every morning when I wake up, negative thoughts stream through my head. Getting out of bed and pretending I'm okay takes all the energy I have. As the day goes on, the negative thoughts turn from a stream into a river. The water rushes through my head so loudly it's hard to concentrate in lessons. And some days it's so bad it feels like a waterfall that's trying to pull me over the edge. Everything is so overwhelming. I didn't think my friends would understand if I told them how down I was feeling. But when Sasha opened up to me about how stressed she was feeling, I told her. I wasn't sure how to bring up how I'd been feeling, so I started by saying that I didn't feel like myself. Just her listening made me feel like she understood. She told me some things that had helped her, so I tried them too, but it didn't make much of a difference. Even when I tried to be around my friends, I felt alone. The things I used to enjoy weren't fun anymore.
I was really worried about Andre and not sure what to do. He was quiet and wasn't hanging out with us like he used to. So I asked our head of year for some advice. He suggested I get Andre to speak to him since his negative feelings weren't going away.
I didn't want to speak to our head of year, but I also didn't want to keep feeling so down, so I went. He said that sometimes we have overwhelming feelings that can be more intense than our everyday feelings. These feelings hang around for a long time and change the way we feel, think, and behave. They can stop us doing what we want to in life. That's what I was going through. He also said that if we're physically unwell, we let people know, we ask for help. It should be no different with mental health. Sometimes our overwhelming feelings are brought on because of things in our life. Sometimes they happen for no reason at all. After hearing this, I felt much less alone and it felt good to talk. Scientists have found exercise can help when you're feeling low, so our head of year encouraged me to sign up to the school football club, which Sasha was already in. I still have days when the river is there, but now I'm beginning to understand my mental health. I'm learning how to cope. Our head of year reminded me that my friends, family, teachers, and lots of others at school are there to help just as much as he is. I had no idea the people around me could be so understanding. And while it's not always easy to talk about my mental health, the person I'm talking to might be able to help. If you don't feel like talking, that's fine. You could try writing, sports, reading, art, music, playing with your pet, whatever makes you feel better.
If you're the person someone talks to when they're struggling, just listen with no pressure or judgments. You don't have to have the answer. If you feel unsure about anything, you can speak to a trusted adult. Talking about mental health doesn't have to be difficult. After all, it's something we all have.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Whew.
Hi! Welcome to community meeting.
Hello. Good morning, everybody.
So early. Good morning, everybody.
Breaking news. So, some of you might know this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. Today, our main focus will be to help educate everyone a little bit more on mental health. So, later in community meeting, we're going to be talking about mental health a little bit more, and we might watch a little video for you guys later. Community meeting. At Impact Academy, we strive to create and maintain a safe space, both physical and virtual, for everyone in the community.
All right. So, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Yes. We need more energy this morning. I feel tired. So this Friday, we're going to work on our growth mindset and building community. So like every Friday, we have to be reminded this is a safe zone. This space respects all aspects of people, including race, ethnicity, gender expression, sexual orientation, socioeconomic background, age, religion, and ability. Let's all be mindful of what we type or what we say. If you guys are in person at all, any teachers, let's just all have a respectful mindset. All right, let's say happy birthday to the birthday people. Birthday boys and girls. Happy birthday, everybody. Happy birthday in the chat for support. Yeah. Good morning, Miss Daniel. Happy birthday, Amara. Happy birthday, Jesus. Happy birthday, Wendy. Woo. Happy birthday, Alondra. Happy birthday, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for saying happy birthday in the chat. Know your love and support.
Happy birthday, everybody.
Thank you, Lynette. Thank you, John. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Miss Kelly. Thank you, Mr. Todd. Thank you, Ethan. Thank you, Miley. Happy birthday, everybody. All right, so now it is time to say a very special hello to Mr. Key, but I heard he might be running late, so yeah. So
$25, 2560. How does an awesome possum impact decorated teaching staff? Unite the students through Zoom chats, doing distance learning like academic acrobats. Breathe in, breathe out. You ready for more yet? So what did I miss? What did I miss? Impact my home, sweet home. I want to give you a social distance hug. We've been praying for more rain all spring. This pandemic, man, it's the worst thing. Been put a mess, alright, cause it saves lives. Woo! All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It's me, Mr. Key, with What Did I Miss? And I'm really excited to share with you the work of one of our very own students here at Impact Academy. On the next screen, roll the clip. So excited to have Amisha, who I think is having some technical difficulties in getting on the show this morning. I don't see her in the room yet, but she has an edit that she made here that we're going to share with you. So go ahead and roll that clip. And it also looks like we're having difficulty with the clip. Let's see here. It's always an interesting time on Zoom. Let me see if I can share my screen and roll the clip directly from my computer. Give me 1 second here. Thanks for your patience, everybody. Yeah, show some love for Amisha in the chat. She made a beautiful edit for us today. All right, let's see if this works. All right, here we go. All right, so show some love for Amisha in the chat and her edit. I know that a lot of you are going to have something to say. I think that everyone's animations, all the edits that you've been sharing with us over the course of the year has been getting better and better and better. So Amisha, I'm so sorry if you're watching this. I'm sorry we weren't able to get you into the room. Hopefully we can get you in soon. But I think your edit that you showed with us today is super cool. Keep up the great work, everybody. It also makes me think about the video we watched at the start of this that talked about mental health and how arts and creation and creativity can be something that keeps our minds and our bodies healthy. So how many of you look to art and creation and creativity to bring your mental health back when you're in a dark space? I know that it really helps me as an artist to do some paintings. So I hope that all of you rely on your creativity to get through those dark times. So once again, major props to Amisha today. Great work. We have one more time that we'll be doing this month. So please send your art, sports, poetry, singing, or music along to me. And that's all we have today from What Did I Miss? I'll turn it back over to our hosts.
Hello? Is anybody there?
Oh, hey, welcome to Tiny Talks. I'm Joseph Johnson. Come in.
Hi, my name is Mia Kendall, and welcome to Tiny Talks.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tiny Talks.
Yep. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Tiny Talks. Hope you guys are excited.
Oh, yeah. This week we have a very important guest. I've met him a couple times. You guys all love him and his brother. So, yeah. So let's welcome him in.
Yep.
We have Oh, you're muted. Joe, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. I'm a little bit newer to all the video chat stuff. I would say hi, welcome, thanks for having me, and I appreciate you guys for picking me up today.
Hello.
What's
Nice
up?
to meet you. So some of you may know him by Mr. Donovan.
Yeah, so he's been part of the Impact team. Well, not really part of it, but he shows his love and support to Impact a lot. So yeah, we welcomed him to the show, and I want you to introduce yourself with your name and pronoun.
Well, first things first, hello. My name is Joseph Hall, and like you said, I'm Mr. Donovan's brother. I first learned about the Impact family when I came, well, obviously when Donnie was working with you guys, but when I came out and did some planting out in the foyer that you guys have out there. We did a couple of planters. We spent some time. I really enjoyed it. You guys were cool. And it's been really nice watching you guys' creativity in here this morning. You guys are good, man. I tell you, I have it's really amazing to watch you guys be able to put up the type of creativity and the things that you guys are doing right now at your age. You're way ahead of me already, so it's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So as you know, it is Mental Awareness Month. So I'd like you to tell us why you're here.
Yeah, so I would love to. I usually do gardening alone. And so whenever I do gardening with anybody else or I talk about gardening with anybody else, it's important for me to let people understand and know why I chose gardening. And for me, there was a couple of things I thought about when you had reached out to me, Joe. Do you go by Joe?
Joseph or Joe?
Joseph, okay. So when you reached out to me, Joseph, there was a couple of things I thought about in relation to mental health and how gardening has helped me mentally. The first thing I wanted to talk about with you guys, if I may get into it, or is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was, I think what gardening was really realized is that we have a long life. Okay. You guys are, your age bracket. I think that, when you are at your age, I think in most ages, even when you're older, you tend to think about things day by day, which is important. It's really important to understand how you feel in the day, but it's really also important to understand that this life is a body of work. So mental health and things that are of those nature, mountains aren't created over days. So those things of those natures, you really want to take your time and kind of understand that it gets better. And that I've learned that from gardening, because it's like you put a seed in the ground. The last thing you want to do is pull the seed out of the ground every 5 minutes. You want to let the seed be in the ground and understand that even though it's buried, or if you want to, make a comparison, it's in a dark place, those seeds after a while become stronger. They start to get more nourished, and they start to reach their peak and come out of that ground. And to me, I always thought that was kind of interesting. One of my favorite quotes, and I think it might be Warren Buffett, is that someone's sitting in the shade now because of a tree that was planted 50 years ago. And that just has something to do with just understanding that the growth that you have today starts today, but it's also for the future you, and it's also for the next day. And understand that this is a long race. You guys have a lot of time to put in. If it's a bad day today, just understand tomorrow is a good day. All natures and forces, there's good and evil. There's always bad and good. Just understand that you want to build day by day on the good things. A second portion of what I thought of in relation to mental health and gardening is that the fact that I did what I loved. And I think that a lot of people don't understand that you don't have to work a job. You don't have to do a career. You don't have to make any choices that aren't something that you truly love. And for me, I think that I felt some of the highest amounts of control and personal and mental goodness when I decided to be real with myself and decided to do what I thought was the right thing to do and all the things that I like to do. So if I like gardening, I'm going to garden. If you like making videos like you guys did in the morning, understand that. That's why I was so amazed earlier. Understand that there's going to be somebody, if you like making that video, I can't remember, Misha was the other girl, but the other girl made a video. If you like making videos like that, just continue to do it, because eventually you'll find work. If it's something that you love, you'll find work doing it. You'll find a career. So I would think that, especially in high school, middle school, college, almost till you get to your about, even, I mean, your whole life really, do what you love. If you don't like it, if you pick it up and it doesn't have a feeling for you, understand that it's not, of course, you're a little younger, you got to finish school, and there's some other things that you have to do now. But as you progress into your career and as you progress into becoming more of a fulfilled human being, continue to follow the things you love. If you don't love it, if you ask me, I tell you, I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it for you. And one of the last portions that I want to kind of talk about is, and then, like I said, you guys can ask any questions. I'm not usually the one that's doing, mental health talks, but I enjoy it, so I appreciate it. The last one, and specifically to this, it took me a long time, and I want you guys to realize this too, and I think most people go through this. It took me a really long time to become at peace with myself and to find out what I needed for myself to feel the mental health. I think what you want to realize is that you want to, and it's harder when you're younger, but you got to understand, you want to really start to understand what's actually making you feel bad. And I think most people know. I think most people are like, actually, I feel bad about this. And it's kind of hard to get out of, changing those kinds of things. So I would say, and this is like my last portion, is if you do have issues, or if you're feeling sad, or if you really just want to talk, whatever it may be, sharing of emotion, to seek like professional help, right? So we talked about Mr. Donovan. We know you guys are doing this here in class, which is amazing. Don't be afraid to use all your resources. If it means reaching out to somebody that that's giving you good advice before, that means if you've reached out and you're looking for a professional like Mr. Donovan, that means if you guys are sharing here in school, never be afraid to kind of seek those professional types of outlets, and kind of like understand that all resources are good resources. You can take what you need to take from them, but you can never you'll never know what they have to say, or you'll never know and see a different perspective unless you start to reach out outside of yourself. You can't fix yourself as much as you think you can. And so I think that those three things are really important. And honestly, those are what I've learned probably the most since I've been gardening, and and I'll say gardening, but since I've taken over my own career, as a young, African-American small business owner. It's not easy. And especially in California, it's not easy. So what you're going to want to understand is that you're going to want to question yourself and ask yourself, what makes you happy, and follow those things. Do what you need to do. Everybody has to do what they need to do. You need to eat the good food. You need to exercise, take care of your body, learn at all times. But exercise the way you like to exercise, eat the food that you like to eat that is good, do the mental work that you like to do that's good, and make sure you cater yourself and the things you do around yourself to you specifically.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mia, do you have any questions or comments of what he said, or like questions for him?
Sure. Yeah. I know there's a comment section in here, Joe, if you want to ask the questions out loud so that everyone can kind of get a fair view of them.
All right. So let's open it up to the chat. But yeah, so first, I want to do, because Mia, you haven't said much yet. Do you have anything? Go ahead.
Oh, I was thinking, I wanted to ask about, what was I saying? I'm sorry. I heard you say something earlier. You were talking about how when you were like dealing with mental health issues, you usually know what the problem is it's in. And I feel like there's a whole lot of people, like I've done it before, that like when they're having mental health issues, they're really focused on the things that they can't change in their life, and things that are, if they can't change, it's very hard to change, instead of thinking about the things that are able to change and things that they can do to make them feel better. And that's one thing that's really hard and a very big struggle for a lot of people. And that's why I always like to think, don't think about the things that you can't change, and think about the things you can change. So instead of thinking about the way you look, maybe think about, trying to get all your grades off your chest. Do that. Or try to find your passion, like drawing, cooking, baking, skateboarding, or biking. Like, I feel like that's one thing that people are really focused on things that they can't change, and that's something that I feel like has a really big strain on a lot of people.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think to agree with you, you're absolutely correct. And that's like a really smart way to think about it, especially coming from where you come from. I think at your age, not to say that your age has any bearing on the amount of things you learned at this point, but being able to, to add to that, I would say being able to scope the things you can and can't change is a start, period. Like, I think that writing, I personally, I think at one of my highest times when I was sad, I literally sat down, and this is why I said it before. I literally sat down and wrote 5 things I loved, and I said, I'm gonna work. I'm gonna be a part of one of those things. It was like video games, plants, just stuff like sports. It was just stuff that I was like, why can't I in this society? Why can't I do things that I love and kind of work towards those things? And those are, and also, but to go to kind of go against what you're saying, is it Mia? Okay.
Yeah.
To go against what you're saying, I think that a lot of people can't diagnose the things they can't change. I don't think that at any age you have a really ample ability to understand the things you can't change. Those are those are just thoughts in your mind. And those things can sometimes become outwardly. You would think like, hey, I can't change the way I look, but that's not necessarily true. You get older, you change the way you look, you can change your hair. People perceive you differently when you have different types of energy towards them. The way you carry yourself. Those things are things that you can't change, but those are things that you can change via other people's perspective. So always understand that, like, to self-diagnose things you can and can't change. I think that those are when you get into a really dark area. I think that it's really hard for you and understand that those are important, right? If they upset you, if they are things that are in the back of your mind all the time, those are things that are just of importance. Those aren't necessarily things you can't change. Those are things that are important to you. And so it is, and I'm speaking of a place from health, right? I'm healthy, I'm mentally healthy. So some of the things I'm saying are coming from a place of health, but understand, but I've come from, this is coming from a place of health. Back in the day, I wasn't feeling that great. And I realized that the ability to change things really does reside in me. It really does. Like, I wanted long hair, I wanted a nose ring, I wanted some gauges. Now those are just physical things, right? But it also allowed me to understand that, like, I'm allowed to make changes to myself, and it's hard for me to quite understand what can and can't change in other people's perspective, right? Now, I think when people are upset about, say, something like the way you look, I think most people look in the mirror and think they look pretty good. I think that comes from outside forces. That's you believing that's other people's perception of you. But those perceptions can change. You really can change the way you look to other people easy. And that's just a small portion. The way you look is a super small portion, as opposed to like what it really means to like change your career, to change your attitude, to change the things that are really like making you feel held back. And so I think, in pursuit of a happy career and of a happy life has to do with just doing things you love, and just understanding that, like, at this age and at most ages, you're not going to have a ton of people that are going to agree 100% with everything you do. It's just important to make sure that you get enough people in those circles with you, and that you're happy enough with the things that you do in yourself, to be able to kind of go forward and understand that things do change. There are no unchangeables, honestly, if you ask me.
Thank you for your perspective. We can get into reading some of the chat now.
Yes.
Thank you a lot for what you said. What you said was very true, and it did help change my perspective. I do see a lot of comments in the chat asking. One that I see right now says, rejection can be really hard to process and can really hurt. Do you have any suggestions for caring for your mental health while experiencing rejection?
Absolutely. Rejection is just a part of everything. You try something, you shoot a basketball and it goes in the hoop or it doesn't go in the hoop. And so to understand that it's either no or yes for anything at any point, just understand that it's like we talked about earlier, it's a long life. So the rejection, from a place of, let's talk about the two different people from a place of unhealed, right? Mental people that are having like people that are having a hard time mentally, and some, we're working on our mental health, like more to the less unhealed person. Rejection means that there's something wrong with you. There's something that you did wrong. There's something that didn't happen. But those kinds of things are just choices that people make every day. Coming from a healed type of situation, say you're coming from a place of which you're more healed, rejection is just the opportunity to make a big change. And honestly, most of the time, rejection is exactly what you needed for you to understand the things that you are and aren't able to do at this very moment, and the things you care enough to go forward and work on. If you tried for the basketball team and you didn't make it, understand it's as tough as it is to say, understand that you can get better than the people on the basketball team that got accepted. And it's hard when you're younger, and it's hard when you're a little like less healed, to understand that getting better is just a part of daily life, and understand that rejection is a part of daily life. And you just take those things kind of, with a grain of salt, if you will, and kind of understand that you just work on yourself, or crazy thought, or it may not be for you. I'm only, just to keep using my basketball analogy. I love the basketball. I'd love to be in the NBA, but I'm only 6 foot. So I understand that there's 1,000 jobs that have to do with the NBA that I could get into if I wanted to do something that I loved. So say I got rejected about something that I love, that's maybe very specific to the thing you got rejected to. Maybe there is an area in which you won't get rejected in the future. And so that's a really upbeat, positive way to look at that. But, for me, that's the way I kind of take it now at my age, as a career guy, as a guy who's getting, like as a guy who gets rejected when I ask for prices all the time, or when I'm like, hey, you want to do this? It's just, for me at this point, it's a part of daily life. And I'm a businessman. I'm a very business guy. Like, you're going to get rejected. And so you would understand is that going through in the future, rejection is either a chance for you to get better than them, or a chance for you to get better within yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I have a question. How does taking care of plants help your mental health?
So for me, and I kind of broke it down, it's super true. I kind of broke it down with the 3 steps. And for me to be able to open a business in California and to run it by myself as a Black man is really tough. It's really tough, but I did it, and I will continue to do it. And so mentally, I'm to the point where I feel like I can't lose. Losses to me are just opportunities to change and go forward. And it's also taught me patience, Joe. Like I said before, man, it's like the stuff that I'm doing now, I invest. I do a lot of things that have to do with stuff in the future. I put seeds in the ground. I buy plants that I'm going to sell maybe 2 or 3 years from now. What I'm understanding is that, I enjoy the stuff that I have today, but I understand that seeds take a while to sow. The things that you guys are doing right now in high school and middle school and coming up to college, those won't come to fruition until you're literally probably around your 30s or like a little later in life. And some of y'all gonna get lucky, and some of you guys are gonna get easy, quick breaks and shoot straight to the moon. But most of us, we all have our individual journeys to do. And those journeys include things like being rejected. I'll tell you like this, Joe. I did music for 10 years. I'm really good with music, and that's just not what I wound up doing my plant business with, because there were spots in which I accepted rejection, and there were spots in which I accepted rejection to like understand that I may need to pivot to something else at this point. So never also. Let's talk about it. When you love multiple things, understand that because we have a long life, you can pick up and put down these multiple things. So if you're a guy who likes music, sports, plants, like me, then you can spend 10 years in your early years making music. You can spend your 10 years doing, plants. And then I'm heck, if anybody offered me a really cool sports job, I'll do it right now as well too. So understanding that you can actually do all the things you love, you just need to put yourself in a moment of dedication. So I say this all to say, what I've learned is that when I plant something, I plant it and I put it in the best possible way to win. So like mental health, understanding yourself, being healthy, seeking professional help, that's putting you in the sun with the perfect amount of water and the right amount of soil. And if the plant grows, the plant grows. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But understand you did everything you could to make that possible. And so you do that with 100 seeds, you'll get 95 seeds. Let's count, let's say that, like for yourself, right? 95 out of 100 is 95%. So let's understand that when you put yourself and you understand that the environmental factors that you can control, because there's things like Maya said there's out of control. When you put yourself in those, as you get older too, you put yourself in those positions to kind of control what's around you. So friends, and we live with our family. We're stuck with our family, but understanding and respecting your family's boundaries so that they respect yours, understanding and respecting your friends. And then when you get older, you start to get out, go to college, start getting high school and all that stuff. You can start to understand that you can put yourself in just actual physical places in which it's better for you to kind of like do what you like to do. So if you like playing video games, like don't give up on that. Like video games are super fun. Like there's like guys who make millions of dollars doing video games every day. So understand that if you feel like our parents, and that's probably you guys' parents probably are about the same as mine, they're gonna make you feel like some stuff that you do might not be worth your time, but they don't understand the future like you do. So always go forward to understanding that, like, if you're a video game dude and you're good at video games and you play like 8 hours a day, that's a job for you in 20 years. So so don't be embarrassed, don't be afraid, step out and make sure that you do the things that you love so that you can make a career out of that as well too.
Okay, so thank you so much for your advice and your wisdom. Everyone's saying thank you to you because you really you're uplifting. I appreciate you giving mental advice and physical advice. We ran past the time. I believe there are no more questions. Even if there is some, would you mind sharing your email? Or if we could always interview you again. So
yeah. Just hit me up anytime you guys want. My Etsy is on there, so if you guys like plants or your parents like plants, check out the Etsy. I'm moving to Florida in a couple of weeks, hopefully. So I'll be putting a lot more on the Instagram. Like I said, I think Mr. Donovan is probably the best resource that you guys can have for mental health. But I know he's a big guy. Like his thing is going on that's really big. So if you guys would love to talk to me, I'm open. You can always DM me. I'm not shy. I know you guys know a lot of things. Probably know more about mental health and more about being a really like well-rounded human being. So if I made any mistakes today, if I said anything that offended anybody, reach out to me. Let me know. I would love to help you guys, and in the future, you guys can always reach out to me. Anybody that's here.
All right. Go ahead.
Oh, before we wrap up, I'd want to say one last thing. I'd want to say thank you for coming, because I know, like, one of my friends, somebody that I know around my age, I'm not going to say their name just for privacy purposes, but they were diagnosed with anorexia, I think, last year. So I feel like a lot of people around our age, when they're experiencing mental health issues, it's very hard to get help because not a lot of people are very open and understand that people our age can still experience stuff like that. So thank you for explaining and showing that it's okay to have the feelings that you have, and it's not abnormal, no matter what age you are, to be experiencing things.
Always. It's always important. And like I said, please talk to somebody. Like, please reach out to me. Like, I talk to people about fixing their plants. I can talk to you about about trying to at least help you get to a better source. I am Donovan's brother, so maybe he can help me help you a little bit. But I just want to be a friend to anybody that comes around me, and we can always, if you're interested in plants too, reach out to me. We can talk about it too.
All right. Thank you again for the show and taking your time out of the day. So very much appreciated.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate you guys.
All right.
Bye.
That was Tony Talks for this week. It was longer than expected. It was very entertaining.
And very educational.
Yes. Mental month awareness. Yeah, mental awareness month. Very important, guys.
I hope you guys all learned a little bit. Coming up next week.
Have our next community meeting, which is very entertaining, which is going to be awesome. Because we're interviewing someone very important to the IAMG community, not even IAMG
API.
community. Yeah, so we're interviewing someone very important. They're part of Envision, like it's the boss. So make sure everyone comes on time, 9:30. Have a beautiful, awesome, amazing weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Have a blessed day, and yeah.
Bye, everybody. See you next week.
Unlike some tunes I know. By the way, where have you been? Research. I have incontrovertible proof that Mars is the most wanted tow truck in America. Wanted for what? The best cookies in town? Or do I smell jealousy? Jealousy?
Yeah, his voice